All right, Shalom, Shalom, Call Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Gadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, bishops of the great millstone, who the rule and teach well. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, peace and blessings, salutations as always to the hopefully elect. So, brothers have been going in on this event right here that happened in New York. You know, it was a shooting. And it's a very strange event, but this only adds to the strange time that we're in, you know, and this is a time where we always say to be very vigilant, you know, be on point, and no matter where you go, have your head on a swivel, because, you know, as it says in the 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, that in the last days shall come perilous times. So we in times right now where anything can pop off at any given moment, because Esau, he getting desperate. He's being found out. He being exposed on a mass level. Everybody's on to him, and people are calling him out. So he about to, well, you know, he is going hard, you know, with his you know, PSY OPS. Okay, rewind and spell it back. just playing, but you know, it's a whole lot of that going on. All right, and you got to be very vigilant. You know, be exercising spiritual discernment in this time to be able to pick through what this devil got going on. Because I mean, this right here really ain't hard to see that this was all a set-up event. You know what I'm saying? Because I was watching the elder Yashawamba. You know, earlier he did a video, and he was pretty much pointing out how many times the number 6 popped up in this whole event. You know, I think they say he traveled there, or he got there around 6 o'clock or 6:30, and you know, it was 6 bodies, and you know, it's just a whole bunch of 6s popping up. Then you had the 33, you know, because you know, allegedly dude popped himself on the 33rd floor of this building. You see, but we got to keep in mind as well, it's a whole lot of deception, you know what I'm saying? Because this devil, Esau Edom, he's a master of deception. So we don't even know, because you'll see this all over the news, and a lot of time, you know, that's not even really what happened, or this is just a staged event. You see? Or AI can be in the mix. We don't know. But this is why, again, discernment is key. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know what the hell be going on with these events, but one thing we do know, one thing we know for sure, is that the devil is at work. All right? And we know how this devil moves, man. So, yeah, we're going to watch this video. And there was another event that happened in New York today. You know what I'm saying? So it's about to be a whole lot of stuff going down in these major cities. That's the point. Check this out.
It's an active shooter. We're getting multiple calls from 345 Park Avenue.
Tonight, police swarming this skyscraper in Midtown Manhattan after at least 2 people were shot, 1 police officer and 1 civilian, according to 2 senior law enforcement officers. 4 senior New York City officials say the suspected gunman, Shane Devin Tamura of Las Vegas, is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound on the 33rd floor of the building. Earlier, the NYPD circulated this photo.
And then, check this out, right? This is the picture that they put out of the alleged suspect. Again, we don't even know who this guy is, all right? We don't know if he was the guy that actually committed this. We don't even know if this dude is real, because they said allegedly that he offed himself. But where's the body? You know what I'm saying? So far with these reports, I mean, I haven't been seeing any eyewitness accounts of what actually went down. You know, but you're going to hear them say it, allegedly this dude, you know, walking around with a big-ass rifle. And mind you, this is in New York. Come on now. I used to live in New York, so the gun laws there are tight as hell. Like, you can't walk around like this in New York and not have a million police on you, or people bugging out like, yo, what the hell, you know? This dude just walking around like this in broad daylight. And then you mean to tell me that he walked up inside the building where security is at? It's all kind of cameras. I mean, a camera caught dude right here, right outside the building. Why wasn't police called immediately, seeing that this dude is carrying a big ass firearm, man? And that right there will get you some time in New York, for sure. You know? But he just walk up in the building, you know? Cameras all around, no doubt security's there. He shoot the security guard, hop on the elevator, get off and pop somebody else, then he pops himself. So this whole thing really don't make no sense, you know?
Person with a long gun they say they were searching for in connection with the shooting, according to 3 senior law enforcement sources. The building, 345 Park Avenue, is the headquarters of the NFL, Blackstone, and accounting firm KPMG.
This is Blackstone headquarters, 345 Park Avenue, approximately 100 people hiding.
It all began around 6 p.m. as people were heading home for the day. Those inside told...
It all started at 6 p.m., okay? Keep that in mind. It all started at 6 p.m.
Shelter in place. You can see the section of Midtown Manhattan is completely cordoned off. A large police presence. 345 Park Avenue is just down that way.
And check this out too, right? We don't even know if this scene is even real. How do we know that this scene, like how don't we know that this is just some AI shit? Did they just put this together, or these are crisis actors? Like they just put them out there, blocked off the street to make it seem like it was, like, I'm just saying, for all we know, it's just me speaking as a man, but for all we know, it could have been a fire that happened inside that building. You know what I'm saying? And they just made up a whole narrative of, oh, this person died. Look, we just really don't know, man. But when you watch the mainstream media, you cannot trust what these devils are saying, because they not giving you the full spectrum of the picture. All right, they're only gonna give you a small percentage of what's true, but most of it is deception. You know. But they do this all the time. You know, they'll set up events. You know, they'll have the crisis actors on the scene, and that they'll broadcast it all over the news to have people in fear, to have people wanting certain things, because no doubt they're going to use this and many other cases that are going to pop off real soon, because they already put the narrative of sleeper cells out there, right? That, oh, you know, all these sleeper cells are in America. Well, how did they get here? All right, we all know how they got up in here, okay, under the Biden regime, but that's another lesson for another day. But anyway, they're going to use these events, okay, to, you know, crack down or justify taking away firearms from the American people, all right, which these Edomites, they ain't going for that, all right? They ain't going for the government come in and taking their guns away, because at that point it's going to be like open season, you know? They ain't going to add no defense, and they, you know, then they still believe in that, you know, constitutional right. Then they going to use this again to say, because the narrative is also, oh, this dude drove from, you know, Las Vegas over to New York. So this dude drove across the whole country just to go shoot up the NFL headquarters or whatever. Come on, man. So now they can use this to say, oh, see, well we need to have interstate checkpoints. You know, now we need to be checking people when they pass through every state, because we have murderers out here. You know, we have crazy people out here, right? This is the narrative that these devils can use to justify bringing in more of their draconian, unrighteous decrees. All right? So if you're in the spirit, then you can see past all this BS, all right? Now, do people really die in these events? Yeah, sure. We're not saying that nobody died, but again, it's all a plot to take your mind and put it somewhere else where the devil can manipulate you, man. You see?
I was just speaking to one man who did not want to appear on camera. He told me that his wife is inside the building. She's on the 23rd floor. She says she's okay, but he's waiting.
She's on the 23rd floor. Can't make this up. So it all started at 6, all right? His wife was on the 23rd floor. Now, these are all high Masonic numbers, all right? These numbers dealing with the wicked elite, you know, these are numbers that have high esoteric meaning or esoteric value. Okay, so 623. All right, 2 times 3 is 6. You see?
Her to get out.
Let's continue.
Tonight, there is a massive police presence, but the NYPD says the scene is contained.
Aaron joins us now live from the scene. And Aaron, you're learning more about some of the chaos that unfolded inside the building.
That's right, Tom. We're hearing some harrowing stories of office workers inside the skyscraper at the time of the shooting, grabbing anything they could.
Hey, yo, come on, man. This right here to me looks like some AI shit or some CGI, you know what I'm saying? Because who the hell in that type of moment is gonna think to, oh, let me pull out a camera and you know, take a picture of all the furniture in this office, or like where the hell is all this furniture even at, man? All right, just some random person. Oh, let me take out you know, let me take out my phone and take a picture of this moment. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Like all this right here, like this could all very well be AI, an AI generated image. They just pulled this shit off of Google. You know what I'm saying? And just put it out. Like, oh yeah, see, we had to barricade ourselves in it to keep the shooter out. You know? It's crazy.
Tables, couches, office chairs to create a barricade to stop the shooter from entering their place of work. We're also hearing from the NYPD tonight say that they believe that this was the work of a lone gunman. Tom?
Okay, Aaron McLaughlin with a lot of new reporting there. Aaron, we thank you for that. We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated.
Yeah, so you see, all right, Esau getting sloppy. You know, Esau getting very sloppy because ultimately the Lord is taking his rulership away and his wisdom is failing him. You see, Esau can't just run circles around you like that no more. You know what I'm saying? Because in the past, when all this technology and social media wasn't around, Esau really controlled the output of information. But now that we in the information age, now his ass is on Front Street. You know what I'm saying? Now anything that he says can be what? Fact check. All right? If this devil says that he went to the moon, which he didn't, by the way, you know. But if this devil say that he went to the moon or he went to Mars, now you got a billion people that can fact check him on that and check out the real info on what he's saying and find him out to be a liar. And see, you know, even when you go in the comments of these videos, people know that this is some BS. People know that there's something else going on. They're not buying the narrative no more. Ultimately, why? Because the new source of truth in media is coming from the underground media, okay? People that are not, bought and paid for by these big corporations, NBC, CBS, Fox News, CNN, corporations like that. All right, because these people, the guys like this in a suit and tie that you see on TV, a dude like this is set up and paid very well to lie to you. All right, now they'll sprinkle some truth in, but most of it is a goddamn lie. Okay, so people know that now by and large, and they're like, nah, something ain't right. Let me go and dig for what's really going on. And now they finding out that the 911 was a hoax, that the CV-19 was a hoax, and even going back to the 911. I mean, I was too young to remember, but there was a whole narrative surrounding that. You know what I'm saying? There was a whole narrative surrounding that of Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and terrorists, when your own government was responsible for pulling that thing off. And like the elder Yashawamba said, that was really Esau's last great hoax. You know what I'm saying? Like that was really like his last big bang, if you will, because since then he hasn't been able to deceive the masses like that, because now everybody's on to him. All right, everybody knows about the elites, everybody knows about BlackRock, everybody knows about this whole NWO agenda. All right, so this is why Esau can't run that same game, and he run the same playbook every single time. Okay, and like the elders was saying, just wait on the manifesto to come out, because that's part of the playbook. All right, you'll have a guy do something like this, and then days later, there comes out a manifesto. All right, but just notice how it's super weird how this will happen. This happened yesterday, allegedly, and within a few hours, they'll have all this information, and they'll have a narrative surrounding it. All right, but with anything else, we don't know. They need weeks or they need months to figure it out. So these are, I say this to say, all these things should be red flags. All these things should be red flags, and they should be questioned. All right, because hey, you can't trust the devil. Then when you go here, all right, major NYC subway delays after power. So another thing that we seeing heavy now is these power outages. All right, they talking about, Canada cutting off power. You know what I'm saying? Because of these tariffs that Trump is doing. And you just have a whole lot of narratives going on, but all these nations, all these leaders are all working together. You see, all of them want the same thing because they are under the thumb of the same people. You see, so the next big thing that's going to come to Babylon the Great is a massive cyber attack that's gonna, knock out the grid. And you've already heard this from multiple sources coming from on top. All right, from the likes of Klaus, from the likes of the WEF, Gates, individuals like that. And they've also been showing you in these movies that's been coming out over these past few years as well that this is what's going to happen. And this year you've been seeing major blackouts, in D.C., now New York, Spain, Portugal, that happened a few months ago. So this thing is really about to go down. All right, we're about to enter into a time in which it's never been seen before, and likewise shall not be seen again. Mass death is about to envelop the earth. All right, so check this out.
Developing right now, several subway lines disrupted after a power outage during the morning commute. Fox 5's Meredith Gorman monitoring this situation for us. Meredith, what can you tell us?
Antoine, it's a real headache for commuters trying to get in and out of Manhattan today. We already know we're in the middle of a heat wave in the city right now. It's about 95 degrees, and we're not even at the peak of what the temperature is supposed to reach today. You double that with going down into the subway where it's 10, 15 degrees hotter than the air outside. That's already a nightmare. Add on severely delayed trains as well. Now, the MTA says there was a power loss to a signaling system at West 4th Street this morning a little bit before 8:30 a.m. Authorities say the power outage turned out to be a breaker that had tripped, and crews were able to reset the breaker, but it still had implications on commuters and train lines.
All of the signals that you see along the roadbed were at red, which prevents the trains from proceeding. So they were slow moving, but on the positive side, there was air conditioning on the trains. The trains were not without power, so trains that they were not stuck in any specific position. It was just really slow moving to get customers on their way.
As of right now, B and C service is suspended in both directions. D trains are partly suspended between Atlantic Ave and 34th Street Herald Square, and M trains are part suspended with no M train service between Delancey Street, Essex Street, and Forest Hills 71st Ave. Now, F trains are being rerouted to G train tracks, and the A train is still experiencing severe delays. And commuters are left scrambling in the extremely hot subway stations, having to transfer or wait for these delayed trains this morning in a chaotic scene underground.
I've been on 2 different trains already. I don't know where. I'm trying to get to 53rd and Lexington. I'm not sure.
What can I do? I mean, I'm a retired person. It's no inconvenience for me, no.
We do have a movie to go to, but I mean, we might be a few minutes late, but that's it. We'll be fine.
And the MTA service is still experiencing delays and disruptions. So if you have to take the subway today, to make sure to check the MTA's website or make alternative travel plans. And of course, be prepared to deal with the heat down in the subway stations if you have to spend a little extra time waiting for your train. Antoine.
All right, Meredith, I was actually caught in there, so thank you for that advice. We'll check in with you soon.
Yeah, it's crazy. And these things are happening all around. This thing is happening in multiple states, man. All right, so these devils are playing with the grid, and we'll see how it's gonna go down. But they can either do it to where they just knock out all the power at one time in every state, or they can just have it happen in certain parts. They can just have it happen in certain parts, and then it'll be like that. But either way, man, this is a glimpse of what's to come. All right, and it shows you that it can really go down at any moment. You can just be going about your regular day, and the next thing you know, the power's out. People's Teslas start bugging out, tripping. That's another thing that's about to happen as well. And they showed you that in the movie Leave the World Behind, where Teslas was, just all of a sudden, just running off the road and crashing and all this crazy stuff. So these things are what's coming down the pipeline. That's why it's very important to, stay on your watch and be vigilant. Because again, we live in some very dangerous times. So let's go to Ephesians chapter 5 and 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools but as wise. Circumspectly, around, and spec means to look. So look around, be aware, be on point of what's going on in your surroundings at all times. Also stay prayed up. Before you leave the house in the morning, you pray to Yahweh Bashmel Shai to keep you safe, whithersoever you go. When you come home, the water Yahweh Bashmel Shai, for bringing you home safe, man, because you ain't got to make it home at the end of the day. Some people leave their house in the morning and they don't make it back home at night. So the fact that the Lord give you grace and mercy to go out and come back in, that's a blessing right there, man. So, you need to be thanking the Heavenly Father every day for that. All right? Not as fools, but as wise, And the wise thing to do in this time is being very vigilant, taking, being proactive about, this world that we in, man. All right? Not just being a sitting duck, not just walking around like a fool, just thinking that it's a sunny day. Nah, man. Understanding what times we in. Anything can pop off at any moment. You can just have a crazy individual run up and wherever you at, Lord forbid, and just start going off. You see, so that's why it's important to be prayed up and have the Lord with you. Have a hedge of protection around you, man. All right, because majority of these people out here they ain't got that. They just out here just going about their regular day, and then they get hit with something, like how we saw in that first video, man. Allegedly. 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And what is the will of Yahweh Bashmel Shai? That America, Babylon the Great, be destroyed, and he's currently breaking this place down, and that ultimately a side effect, if you will, of this place being broken down is people crashing out. That's why now you have a lot more road rage. You have a lot more people just have a lot more demons out here, man. People just acting out of character, just quick, very impulsive, very beast-like. And the scriptures tell you that, in the last days, because the love of many, because iniquity shall abound, that the love of many shall wax cold. So we're in a very cold world, a very sick society, to where it ain't no love out here, man. It ain't no compassion. It ain't no type of mercy. People are just ready to act. Shoot first, ask questions later type mentality, man. Like very cutthroat world that we in. A very unhinged world. You see? So yeah, we got to understand what the will of the Lord is. 18, and be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. You see? So we ain't supposed to be drunk off of this world, man. The scriptures tell you to, use the world, don't abuse it. All right, so you go out, get your daily bread, you got to run some errands, do what you got to do. But in the midst of that, always be aware. Never get too comfortable, man. You know, never get too comfortable in this society because we living amongst demons, all right? And these demons, it ain't nothing for them to get activated or get triggered, okay? This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And you see that? So the devil is always, the devil is always busy, man. The devil don't sleep. All right? These devils are continuously on their beds devising evil and iniquity. All right? And they seeking whom they may devour. And the ones that they may devour are the ones that do not have the blood of the Lamb. All right? Those that do not have the protection of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in this time. Okay? Again, that's the most important thing, man, to have the Lord with you, because if the Lord is dealing with you, the devil, he can't touch you. You know what I'm saying? If you walking upright before the Lord, the devil can't touch you, man. So, you know, you got to keep that in mind as well. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these people out here don't even know that they about to get got real soon, all right? Because, you know, the Lord going to give the devil permission to touch a lot of these people and, you know, touch them so bad they're going to go back to the spirit world, you know, with all these wicked devices that he's about to use on these people, man. You know, I went into a lesson yesterday that, you know, this devil, that he's spraying the skies so damn heavy, man, you know, to where he really trying to block out the sun. So, yeah, we definitely, you know, in some very evil days, some evil times, you know, and as it says in Ezekiel the 7th chapter, that evil and only evil has come. So these things are only going to increase on the earth the closer we get to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash, call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kum Yasha Allah.